TIR Fullerton, www.titanradio.org.
Hey parents, introducing the Communicizer. Go from boring old man speak.
Oh, I'm here if you want to talk.
To 100% off the chain.
Text me whenever, yo.
I love you, Dad.
Communicizer is not available in stores because it doesn't exist. But that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Because kids in foster care don't need perfection. They need you. For more information on how you can adopt, go to adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
TIR Fullerton.
It's down to me and you, it's not the same. Hazy skies, blue turned to rain.
Listen, connect,
express. Welcome aboard Titan Internet Radio on the Cal State Fullerton airwaves.
Listen up, because this is your captain speaking. Prior to departure, please remember that this is an independent student production. The views expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect those of Titan Radio, Titan Communications, Cal State University Fullerton, or any of their affiliates.
Titan Radio would like to thank the House of Blues of Anaheim for their continued support. For a complete list of upcoming events or for more information, visit hob.com.
At this point, we'd like to prepare for takeoff. Please adjust your speakers to an optimal listening level, as well as your seat to a comfortable reclined position. We'll be on the air in...
And welcome to the Instant Replay, streaming live on Titan Internet Radio. Calling you Derek McKernan.
Glad to be back after a 1 week hiatus.
Yeah,
I was 1 week hiatus last week, unfortunately, because of technical difficulties.
Which we will not go into specifics about.
We lost what would have been our sixth show, and now this is our sixth show this week.
So we are streaming live on TitanInternetRadio.org. Just go to the page and go to the little right-hand corner, listen live, and I'm pretty sure the webcam's up, so you could say hi to us as we... Derek's waving right now.
Just wave.
With his
if you missed it, you
awesome
missed
hat. What kind of hat is that?
True Love False Idols.
Okay.
Name brand.
What is
you
that?
Probably
New
haven't
era?
heard of it yet. I'm a hipster hat guy.
Is that a new era hat?
Yes, it is.
Snapback?
59. 50.
59.
50.
All right, but we have a lot to get into today. You can call in to the show at 657-278-5516, 657-278-5516 if you want to weigh in on anything. But first, let's get to our first thoughts. So
we got some new intros made this week.
Yeah, we have some new intros.
So enjoy some original content.
And I'm dealing with a heavy...
This is the first thought.
And I'm dealing with a heavy case of Linsanity.
Tell us what's on your mind.
You know, there's never going to be another Michael Jordan.
The first thought.
Now, you can't tell us that wasn't cool.
That was pretty cool.
Using some old recorded stuff.
Another Michael Jordan.
That was a bold statement by me.
That was.
But it just so thinks. I think it's true.
It got straight to the point. He was adamant in that statement. He was, there will never be another Michael Jordan.
Anyways, Colin, I normally start this out. Let's get your first thought this week to begin it with.
Okay. Well, my first thought today is an outrage. It's an outrage that the Lakers would even dream of trading one of the cornerstones of their franchise. And I'm about to say that he's almost a larger cornerstone than Kobe Bryant. Close. Not the, to the fullest extent, because Kobe, of course, is, the man. I mean, he's known worldwide, the Black Mamba. But D. Fish came into the league with Kobe in 1996. 13 years of good service to the Lakers, the best service of his life. He has 5 rings. Do you know the only Lakers with 5 rings? Kobe, well, with 5 rings on the Lakers, there's Kobe, there's Derek Fisher, and there's Magic Johnson. So that's a very select,
very prestigious list to be a part of.
Few. And I don't know what the Lakers management was thinking, but I'm very ashamed, and I don't know where the loyalty has gone in sports anymore, because this is truly an I don't know. I really don't know. Derek Fisher, one of my favorite players, and a Laker fan favorite, has been traded, and it's a sad day in sports history.
I feel like in sports this is happening a lot lately, though. Especially, I mean, we've been talking about the whole Peyton Manning thing, and there's a lot of talk about that with, being disrespectful. That Peyton Manning's the one that revived that franchise. The same thing with Drew Brees. He feels like he's not getting contracts and stuff for.
I mean, honestly, what happened to the players that by their team? Magic Johnson, you think right away he's a Laker.
Yeah, it's become more of a business. Definitely.
You think Michael Jordan, he's a Bull. I mean, the great.
Or he's a Chicago White Sox. But,
minor leaguer. But when you think of these players, you think of one team and one team only. And, Derek Fisher, he may have not been a superstar, but for the Lakers, he's definitely one of their greatest, players. And so many highlights, so many memories that we'll have of Derek. And we wish you good luck in Houston. But just definitely a shame.
I want to make a YouTube highlight reel of Luke Walton's contributions to the Lakers. I would just like to say that. Because that bench, so toasty. But anyways, we'll get to my first thought of the week. And that is Dwight Howard. Please stop. I don't even live in Orlando, and you're making me angry. I mean, if I was an Orlando fan, I'd be so upset with how you're dealing with everything that's going on right now. First, you pulled along the ringer saying you want to be traded here, you want to be traded there, saying you want to be traded, period. And now you decide you're going to just opt out, and we're going to wait till the beginning of next season at least before we go through the same thing all over again. Like, hey, let's go through the trade. Like, no one wants to hear about what Dwight Howard wants to do in free agency anymore.
I don't.
Yeah, it was cool for. It wasn't even cool for one season.
Next thing you know, he's just gonna make his own show on ESPN and have a sit down with all the fans.
The Decision Part 2. Let's not bring up the God in this, all right? But anyways, the thing I really want to say about this: what if he ends up leaving next year? Doesn't this make him look even stupider and make Orlando look even stupider? Unless Orlando makes a blockbuster deal.
The thing that he did do was sign that waiver, so that sort of holds him.
He did. I mean, that was the better decision other than, till the very last day, and then just saying, hey, I'm probably going to be here the rest of the season.
I just don't like the way that he's back and forth. He's saying, yes, I'm going to stay, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, I want this, and if I don't get this, then I'm going to leave, and then I'm going to stay, and then he needs to make up his mind.
And I understand the internal conflict involved. He doesn't want to be the next LeBron James. I know no one really wants to be that person that can't do it on their own, and he wants to be that hometown hero for Orlando, but at the same time, you got a fan base, an organization, and an entire, sports organization, the NBA, behind you waiting to hear what your decision is, and all you're doing is flip-flopping.
Well, yeah, I think it's just the way that these players, I mean, I used to love Dwight, and, now I don't have as much respect for him as I used to have. The way that this generation of players has gone about their business in free agency, it's not very professional, in my opinion. So
the thing I think that bothers me the most about you come on to continue on your point about how people are, players are these days. I really don't like how they handle the media and how they handle all those kind of things. And I don't know if that's because they're coming out of college or coming out of high school sooner. Obviously, they don't come out of high school anymore. But I'm talking about LeBron James too. They're just so media stupid. Like, they're not media savvy whatsoever. LeBron James almost every other month has some sort of dumb move in the media. Like the last one was him saying, yeah, I'll go back to Cleveland someday, the day before he plays him. You're in Miami for 4 more years. What do you have to say about going back to Cleveland?
The guy that I respect definitely, who I think has the most media savvy, would be Kobe Bryant. And he is...
Well, I expected that answer regardless, but let's just put it this way. He has had some off-the-court conduct that's been questionable.
Okay.
But when it comes to handling basketball business, Kobe knows how to do it.
He knows how to do it.
I mean, when he was younger, he made his own mistakes. He was naturally cocky, and he brought it out. And the Shaq and Kobe thing was one thing that always kind of leaked out. But Kobe has matured very well, and he's learned how to deal with it a lot. But I think Dwight and all these other players like LeBron, they really just have to take a step in the right direction. I think Derrick Rose was a good person until he just called out the refs the other day.
I mean, you know, that's going to happen. You're going to have players calling out refs, and really, I think that you know, Kobe does that.
Yeah, I know Kobe does that. So. But I mean, every player does that in the NBA. But to go out in public and say it in the after game thing, like, hey, I didn't think I was getting calls. I mean, Kobe says it all the time, like refs didn't make a couple decisions. Like, you got to word it correctly. That doesn't put all the blame on the refs.
But you have to realize that these players are young. They're not vets yet, and they'll learn.
I understand Derrick Rose has learning to do, but I think I'm just giving him some credit for being one of those people that is a little more media savvy. But I just don't want him to go down the wrong path.
All right, well, let's move on to the Fullerton flavor, and we're going to be really quick with this since we have so many things to talk about.
National news is big today,
to talk about, but while we didn't get to talk about our Long Beach win, just a little shout out to the basketball team for a great win.
Derek
was there. I was there. It was a surreal moment.
I was sitting in the Long Beach section, and that was a whole different kind of experience. Especially,
it wasn't too fun,
was it? The look on their faces at the end of the game.
It wasn't fun during the game, but after the game, it was awesome, right?
Oh, well, even during the game, at least not maybe in the first half until halftime happened when we got the dunk right at the end. Oh, their faces were not happy then, but. There's a good and bad side to sitting there, but I was really happy for them, and I was so stoked for them to go into the Big West Conference, and unfortunately, it didn't turn out too well, Colin.
Yeah, and I think that just happens with teams. You go in maybe a little overconfident, I would say, in a UCI team that's only the 7th seed. They hadn't been playing well. We've beaten them both games during the regular season, and we followed them. But it happens in basketball, and they had a game yesterday against Loyola Marymount. Couldn't pull that one out. Loyola Marymount, very respectable, really tough team that actually beat UCLA earlier this year. So. DJ Seeley had 32 points in that game. But, great season for the basketball team. And then we go for men's baseball. They are now 8th in the nation, according to the NCAA collegiate poll.
What did they start at again this year?
They started at, in some polls, 25.
The main poll we focus on.
The main poll the poll that they're 8th in right now, they started at 21.
So we're making moves up already. Only, what is it, 15, 10 games in, somewhere around there?
Double digits. We're 16 games in.
16, so 15.
We had a great series against Texas A&M. Texas A&M was number 5th in the nation, and we gave them their first series loss. So they were 12-1 going into the series and came out with 2 losses at the hands of Fullerton, and that was at in Texas.
The Titans are still a very formidable team, and they didn't play greatest against Florida, but TCU, they played a pretty good series. So it's all about growth, and it's a long season. So they got plenty to work for.
And then Long Beach series this weekend, so I'm really excited for that.
Keep the rivalry going.
Keep the rivalry going.
But they did sweep Utah Valley 3-0. It was a pretty handily beating, but. Fullerton. It's good to know that at least in the games with competition that's less than top ranked, they're still keeping up with it.
Yeah, also had a tough loss to Washington State on Tuesday, but they fought. They came back. They actually had 5 runs, and I believe it was like the 7th inning.
Went extra innings too.
Extra innings, and a key hit by Washington State, one of their players. They came out on top, but they fought, and I love to see that, especially in a young team. This is a team that's not chock full of seniors. They have a lot of freshmen and sophomores, so they're looking good, and I'm excited for this Long Beach series. Let's go to our California love section, our Los Angeles section, or let's say Southern California section, because this is the OC. We can't say Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, well, OC in LA. What's going on in Los Angeles and Orange County?
So there's a lot to talk about.
We got to start with the Lakers, because they've been the most active in the trades today, because the trade deadline was at 3 p.m. Was it Eastern or Western time?
It was Eastern time. So 12 o'clock over here in the OC.
And Colin touched on the Derek Fisher trade for Jordan Hill, which is a little bit of a head scratcher, because
we also gave them a first-round draft pick, which...
But the Lakers did pick up Ramon Sessions, which was something a lot of people were rooting for, to get a point guard that could run the system.
Yeah, Ramon, this is by far his best three-point shooting year. He's really developed that shot, and he could dish the ball well. He's averaging close to 6 assists a game, 11 points.
He's still a great point guard, even though he's taking a backseat to Kyrie. But that's not his fault. Kyrie's just a different talent.
Kyrie's just a monster, and I think Ramon's going to even blossom even more, especially within Mike Brown's offensive system, because we've seen Steve Blake really blossom this year, sort of. And Steve will be a good backup.
Yes, he's definitely had some good good moments. And I'm happy for the Ramon. I'm not even a Laker fan, but I'm happy to see Ramon Sessions go there, have a better opportunity.
And they
for him.
also picked up Christian Ayen. I don't know how to pronounce his name actually, but
it's not Ayen. Just kidding.
From Congo. So
yeah. So I mean, and honestly, people make fun of Luke Walton all the time, and rightfully so. Okay, because the guy, I have no problem with Luke Walton. He's a basketball player, and he's gone farther in the NBA than I will ever dream of. But he really was a centerpiece on that team for the past, as long as he's been there pretty much. He's never been in the main rotation in so many years. And, I mean, he still gets paid pretty well to sit on the bench.
I think the thing why the Lakers are keeping Luke around so much is he has a very, very high basketball IQ.
Yeah,
his intelligence is skyrocketed over so many of the other players.
He does have a father that can, definitely help him with that too.
Well, I mean, one of the greatest power forwards of all time in Bill Walton. But Luke, nice guy, smart guy, and he really knew how to run the triangle. So coming off the bench with Phil Jackson, he was really productive. Now with the new system in Mike Brown, different offense, different coach.
He's
not
a
as
great
useful.
Teammate too, though. I mean,
great
you
teammate,
gotta give him that,
great teammate. And then also losing Jason Capono and another first-round draft pick. So I'm sad that they lost Jason Capono, by the way, because he is my favorite player at UCLA for his whole career there. And
I like Capono, but I don't know if his three-point shooting was on par for great.
Yeah, he sort of needed to be wide open, literally.
And even when he was wide open, sometimes he was hitting air.
Yeah, but losing those 2 first-round draft picks, that'll hurt. But picking up Ramon Sessions in the long run is huge. I actually wanted the Lakers to go after Mike Beasley.
And they were pursuing him.
And they were pursuing him yesterday with all the sources and trade rumors that were flying around in ESPN and other notable sports sites. I was greatly encouraged by Michael Beasley coming to LA. I thought it was almost a done deal, and today I learned that.
It feels like there's been a lot of done deals this year, though, that have backed out. I mean, we'll not even get into the Chris Paul trade because that's a whole different.
That's what I thought you were aiming towards.
Just everybody. I mean, there's been a lot of trades that where they're like, oh, Pau Gasol for Boozer, it's gonna happen, and then it backs out. There's just a lot of trades like that. But we can't forget the other team in LA right now, the Los Angeles Clippers. They were involved in a 3-team deal today. Where the Wizards picked up Nene from the Nuggets, Brian Cook from the Clippers, and a future second-round pick. The Clippers picked up Nick Young from the Wizards, who will be a nice wing player. He can slash.
Filling in for Chauncey, that the Clippers have lost for the season, he's a perfect fit.
They need another aggressive shooter, an offensive player.
Good shooter, good offensive scorer. Can't play defense, but do the Clippers play defense? No, it's Lob City.
They can train him. It's okay. He can learn. He's obviously not learning any defense with the Wizards. And then obviously the last part of that trade I can't leave out is that the Nuggets get JaVale McGee and Ronnie Turioff. Now JaVale McGee, he's been kind of more of a not top 10 player than a top 10 player.
He's a very, very athletic center, but just hasn't found his place in the NBA right now, and who knows?
I honestly think he needs to get his mindset right. I don't think his
George
head's in the
Karl,
game
a great coach, maybe will have the opportunity to develop him into a great player.
You could only hope. I mean, you hope for a kid like that he can really hone his skills and clean it up and he'll turn into a player.
And Ronnie Turioff,
yeah, I mean, he's
former Laker.
Give or take. I mean, I haven't seen him do much.
I always loved him for his hustle.
Yeah, you got to love players that hustle. I mean, I love Reggie Evans on the Clippers, and the guy doesn't really do much other than diving on the ground and getting basketballs, but that's all you really need to do, in my opinion.
Those
if that's your role.
Those are the guys that they don't stack it up in the stat books, but they really come out big for your team in the big situations.
I think for now that is all our LA news, though. LA and
that
OC
is,
news.
UCLA Bruins, USC Trojans, did not make it to either the NCAA tournaments or the NIT.
Didn't they play together in the tournament and one of them knocked each other out? I can't remember.
The Pac-12 tournament. Yeah, UCLA knocked out SC 55-40, but that was a couple or 1 week ago.
I feel like people expect that a lot. They win in UCLA wins in basketball and USC dominates in football every year. So they kind of have their own sports to battle on. But we do have a lot of other NBA trades to talk about today, other than just the Lakers, Clippers, and everything around the LA and OC.
A plethora of trades and
a plethora.
Excuse me. I always misuse that word. It's
the biggest trade I want to talk about, because this trade has bothered me since the moment I saw it, is the Bucks and the Warriors. Now, it makes sense when you get the last part where the Warriors nab Richard Jefferson by trading Steven Jackson.
And a first-round draft pick, which makes that trade one of the best trades of this trade deadline.
I really hope that first-round draft pick comes out for him because, look, I'm a huge fan of Monta Ellis, and I know Stephen Curry and Monta, their system doesn't really work when they're together. And the Warriors for a long time have wanted only Stephen Curry to be there. They wanted to get rid of Monta a long time ago. But I feel like giving up Udo and Ellis for Bogut, who is yet to be healthy for a while now, and Steven Jackson, who at least they got Jefferson in the first-round pick. So they did some collateral. But I really didn't like the trade to begin with because I just didn't like what they got from the Bucks.
Well, and, I think that Monte was just such a big fan favorite. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, and he said he's from NoCal, and he said just so many of the Northern California fans were mad about losing Monte because they love him over there. And, you have Steph Curry, great guard, but has glass ankles,
And Ellis is a much more dynamic player than him.
Much more dynamic,
star power,
But Steph, you never know when he's going to get hurt. And we've seen that this year. He got hurt this year. So
they're definitely taking a bargain on Bogut and him, but and
on the flip side for the Bucks, what are they going to do now with Brandon Jennings and Monte Ellis, two players who both like to have the ball in their hands at all times?
I totally understand that problem there. It's definitely going to be something they'll have to work out. But honestly, I think it's a fresh start for Monta Ellis to get in a different system. And they're ninth place right now behind or the Knicks in ninth place. I'm confused.
The Knicks are tied with the Bucks for eighth place.
Put it this way. So even if the system doesn't work perfectly, as long as they remain in contention, it's a playoff year for them, and they can work with it. And this is a learning year still for them, but they're not out of it at all. So this could easily work well for them.
We're going to take a quick break, come back to more of the national talk with the trade deadlines in the NBA, NFL, and we'll preview our brackets, which are doing quite well, right, Derek?
So far, I'm 6 out of 8, and you are 7 out of 8, so we're doing pretty solid.
All right, you're listening to the Instant Replay with Colin Yee and Derek McKernan. We'll be back.
TIR on TIR.
As long as you feel them to the day that I drop, you'll never say that I'm not killing them. Cause when I am not, then I'ma stop pinning them, and I am not hip-hop.
March is Women's History Month, and Hilda Sordita of Sordita Law Office would like to remind all the young women in our communities to follow your dreams. If you aspire to be an attorney, it's going to take a lot of hard work. Set your goals today and strive to achieve them. Take your time in school seriously, and your rewards will be endless. Remember, education is the gateway to a better life, and only you hold that key. This important reminder is brought to you by Hilda Sordita of Sordita Law Office, Immigration Law Services in Santa Ana, 714-547-6098, or online at sorditalaw.com.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going to do is turn onto Marcy
and Brett
Avenue.
just broke up,
and go past the first 3 lights,
happy
and then
about
take the next left.
I don't really
then
think
drive
she's
5 more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who
there.
am I to judge, right?
Park on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Do you like video games? Yes. Movies? Yes. TV? Yes. Tech? Yes. And comics? Yes. Well, of course you do. On Geekin' Out, I give you my latest reviews, previews, and rants on all things geek. So listen in before all the gnomes under your bed come and get you.
Listen to Geekin' Out every Monday at 5 p.m. on titanradio.org.
Excelsior!
We at war. We at war with terrorism, racism, but most of all, we at war with ourselves. God, show me the way.
And welcome back to the Instant Replay. Derek and I were rocking out to Jesus Walks by...
Jesus Rocks, apparently, too. But
by Kanye West. Titan Internet Radio, the Instant Replay with Colin Yee and Derek McKernan. Remember to call in at 657-278-5516. Let me say that a little bit slower. 657-278-5516. Anything you want to weigh in, trade talk, NFL with Peyton Manning, and then hey, give us your 4 number ones. How's that?
We're gonna get into the bracket section very soon, but you can come in early and start talking to us now. We'll easily switch over and switch back. We're talented like that. But we're gonna get straight into the Blazers who there's a lot of things going on in Portland right now.
And
obviously, Nate McMillan was fired today. One of the
Nate
things.
the Great.
I can't say I didn't see it coming because the Blazers have seriously underperformed this year, really below all expectation. I remember, did we not both pick the Blazers of the Western Conference to be the dark horse this year?
We were talking about, both of us, the Blazers as that team with all the young pieces that they have, the Gerald Wallace's, the LaMarcus Aldridge, the Raymond Felton, and then picking up Jamal Crawford. We're like, these guys...
And now we both look like goofballs because they just got rid of Gerald Wallace. They got rid of Gerald Wallace and sent him to the Nets, and they got Mehmet Okur, Sean Williams, and a future first-round pick.
This was a very puzzling deal for me. I mean, what are they doing?
I don't see why they would want Okur, Sean Williams. They don't fit in their system, really. It's a very slow system.
The Portland Trail Blazers team is, they're athletic. And Mehmet Okur is not.
And Mehmet's not going to get a lot of touches when Aldridge's there right next to him. I just don't see how that works. I mean, I like the future first-round pick, but Gerald Wallace helped glue that small forward position down on that team.
He was a great player. He brought energy to the team when they needed it. He came in and he's a fireball. He's a fireball of a player. Love watching him play.
And then they give away Marcus Camby to the Rockets for Hashim Thabit, Johnny Flynn, and a 2012 second-round pick. At least it was specified 2012 in my notes.
Yeah, it was actually a... Yep, you're right. Future second-round pick.
But Camby, he's a veteran. He's got that veteran leadership. He's still a good defender. And
for Johnny Flynn and Hashim Thabit, who are both...
You don't have Greg Oden anymore, so I don't know why we're giving away big men.
Yeah,
and then Hashim
right
Thabit,
after they do all these trades, they waive Greg Oden. So I don't know. Portland's just falling apart.
Portland, I really think they mailed it in this year already. I mean, to give away those two players, unless... By some grace of God, Johnny Flynn ends up being the new dynamic point guard over Raymond Felton on that team.
Johnny Flynn turns into Flynn sanity. Flynn sanity.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, though. But, I mean, I don't know. That trade, I really like Portland, and that was really disappointing to me. Not the firing of Nate McMillan, but I love Gerald Wallace. If any of my friends are listening, they know I love Gerald Wallace. Anytime I play
He's one of my favorite
Anytime
players.
I play 2K12 or something, Gerald Wallace is my player.
Honestly, I love playing. I never play with Portland because I'm never good enough. I always play with the Lakers because when I play with my friends, like they're all really good, and I need the Lakers. But I would love to play with Portland because of all their talent. Now they don't have Gerald Wallace. I'm not gonna be
no
playing.
point. But once again, you can call us in at 657-278-5516 with any opinions on any of this.
Talk.
Yeah, 657-278-5516. Moving forward, though. We do have Mike D'Antoni stepping down as coach of the New York Knicks.
Well, and there were so many fingers pointed at him for what he did, and the source inside the New York locker room was saying he lost control of that team, and supposedly there was a little skirmish between Carmelo and D'Antoni. So that's not good when you're star.
They were clearly butting heads. You could tell. I mean. Nothing's proof enough than how Carmelo reacted to not getting the ball in that play a couple nights ago. But really, you could tell there was something wrong with the chemistry as soon as Carmelo came back. So you don't even need to look at the stats. They're 2-8 since he got back.
They're actually 2 of 9.
2 of 9.
3 of 9 now since they won yesterday.
Yeah, 3 of 9. But regardless of the stats, you could just tell Carmelo wasn't shooting well. He wasn't working well in D'Antoni's system. And really, it doesn't seem like D'Antoni tried to make any change. And honestly, I don't think D'Antoni works like that. I don't think... Instead of how most coaches are where you make a system that fits your players, D'Antoni's different. He finds players that match his system, and Carmelo isn't that player.
He's not. And I totally agree with what you were saying. When Carmelo was out, the system that they were running was perfect. It was
just like Phoenix.
It was Steve Nash and Amari all over again.
Got a dynamic point guard, some big men, and some shooters. That's all you need in his system.
So what's the problem here? Is Carmelo the problem or D'Antoni? Derek?
I got to give a little bit of blame on both of them, but I have to say in the grand scheme of things, it's a coach's job to help adapt for the players. Because honestly, Carmelo's a stubborn player, and he doesn't like
He's not going to change.
Yeah, Carmelo's
a star. He's like any guy. He's like Kobe. He's like LeBron.
Let's put it this way. In terms of job safety, Carmelo doesn't have to change his MO. He can keep shooting, and some team will sign him. But D'Antoni, if you want to keep your job, you got to work with it.
Well, D'Antoni, it looks like there's a new opening over at Portland, so call the Trailblazers.
Oh, God. Please, I don't want to see the Portland Trailblazers turn into that kind of team. They're like the slowest team in the NBA, and then they will become the fastest team. That doesn't make any sense. But, I mean, I really think the Knicks are struggling, and they did go nuts against the Trailblazers the other night.
Well, and I think this new coaching change is a big...
I like Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson is the man for the job to finish out the year. I don't know if he's the best for the future, but to finish out the year, he's defensive-minded. Tyson Chandler, Amari, get these people to play some defense. Tyson knows it best. He'll be able to share some of that Dallas
surprised.
mindset.
Well, and it's just, I guess, the Mike D'Antoni type of defense, because when you have two big men in Amari and Tyson Chandler, you would think that this team would play some defense. They're letting the Bucks score 116 on them, and while their offense was clicking, it's just not. Their defense was horrendous. So, like you said, I like this move. What do you think about Phil Jackson possibly filling in maybe next year?
Do I like the idea? Yeah, I'm not really too believable at this point yet, though, that he's ready to come out of retirement for this. I was listening to Around the Horn yesterday on ESPN. Bill Plaschke, he's a writer for the Los Angeles Times. He was a huge fan of Phil Jackson. He thinks Phil Jackson might not be done with basketball. I got to go against that. I don't understand. When you're Phil Jackson, you're that old, you've had ailing health issues before. What else do you have to prove in the NBA?
Well, and the thing, his resume is, like you say, is chocked full of
he's got 11 championships. What else do you need to prove? Does he want to just make the lead that much bigger so no coach ever beats him until doomsday comes, or what?
And he finished with the Lakers, so, one of the teams that he made his mark with, and I think he should go home and just sort of chill, do his yoga or Zen master thing, and sort of watch basketball all day, every day.
And if the Knicks were at that point where they were perfect and ready to be, win a championship this year, I would say maybe Phil should take a shot. But there's at least one or two rebuilding years.
They don't have the
kind of scheme understanding years. Yeah,
like I was telling you earlier today, is that it's a Bulls and Heat race right now.
It is. This is a season that's already won in the East. We don't know who's going to win it, but it's down to only a couple of teams. Barring a complete upset, it's only a couple.
Just like the West is basically already won with Oklahoma City coming out on top.
Definitely. So I believe we are moving into bracket talk now, which I'm excited for. Because I really want to talk about this.
And both of our brackets are doing quite well. I think so far. I was excited to see when I looked. I was like, wow, my brackets are 100%, but unfortunately, Long Beach State ruined that one for me, losing to New Mexico.
Unfortunately,
earlier.
It can't be perfect. Did that just say VCU won? I didn't see that. Is that final score?
Yeah, VCU won. Yes.
Yeah, upset.
We both picked VCU.
All right.
Over Wichita State.
We got that.
Gonzaga, though, both of us picked Gonzaga.
Yeah. Well, everybody wanted when we picked West Virginia.
I mean, both of us picked West Virginia. I'm sorry.
At least Baylor's winning. I want them to get
both of us picked. See, we're on a roll. So really what we're doing right now is just talking about what we're the picks and
we want to get your feedback on it too. So you can call us in at 657-278-5516.
How about we want your number ones for all the the East, the West.
We want your final four.
We want your final four.
That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say. We want your but we also want the champion and the final two, and then the champion. So how about that? So calling, like Derek said, calling at 657-278-5516. That's 657-278-5516. Derek, who is your final four?
Well, with my final four, my team this year I'm going with is Kentucky. That's my favorite. I got them winning the championship, but they're my winner in the South. I got them playing Baylor in the Elite Eight for the championship, or at least in the South. And then Kentucky goes in. I got Missouri in the West beating Michigan State to get into the Final Four. I got North Carolina in the Midwest beating Kansas. Well, I actually think Kansas will make it to the Elite Eight this year, which most years they disappoint you on that. But I got North Carolina, Missouri, Kentucky, and I got Florida State coming out of the East, and Florida State will be playing in the championship game versus Kentucky, and Kentucky will run away with the championship.
The scary part about this is that we have the exact same Final Four. We had no collaboration before this.
Absolutely none, surprisingly.
Bracket. So yeah, I have Kentucky, Florida State, Missouri, North Carolina, and then I have Kentucky winning it, but they are going to beat UNC. So that's our only difference.
I like the Tar Heels, though.
You have Florida State in there, and so we have a slight difference, but very similar brackets.
What is your biggest upset on your bracket this year? Even if it's failed already? What is the one you tried?
It was the VCU one. That was the one I tried.
I got to say my biggest one was probably Harvard over Vanderbilt, and that didn't turn out too well for me. So
see, they were on my mind. I was like, this, Jeremy Lin went to Harvard.
I just felt like there was so much momentum in Harvard's side this year. They had to win, and they failed me.
Barack Obama went to Harvard.
He didn't even pick him though. Did you watch that? On
I
ESPN?
did see. That was actually very exciting.
He was like,
to see the
"No, I'm
president
not. I
picking
am not going to pick Harvard. I'm sorry. I came from there, but I'm sorry."
Is that
I'm
your
not going to
Barack Obama impression?
It's the best I can do, Colin.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
It's the best I can do. But unfortunately, hopefully Vanderbilt doesn't make a run to the Elite Eight or even the Final Four, because that's going to destroy my bracket.
I actually hope they do, because I have them playing Florida State in the Elite Eight. So hopefully they do, but I don't think they will. After seeing them barely beat Harvard.
What now? Tell me that. Now, do you think that Vandy's going to? So you think Vandy's going to beat Wisconsin?
I have Vandy beat.
So do you think they're going to beat Syracuse? Is Syracuse even?
See, that's where I sort of was thinking.
Or do you think that Syracuse is even going to make it past Kansas State?
Who knows? See, I put Syracuse.
No Fab Melo.
No Fab Melo. I have Syracuse playing Vanderbilt in the Sweet 16. I have Vanderbilt beating Syracuse, going to the Elite Eight, but falling to Florida State. So that's where my bracket is. But after seeing all that's transpired today, I mean, who knows if Syracuse can even make it past the second round?
They almost lost to UNC Asheville, yeah.
Yeah, barely got past UNC Asheville, in which many would say was the refs' faults. And, we always like to point fingers at the
That's going to be the
Zebras.
first of many controversies, though, I think, in this year's, NCAA tournament. But I never like to blame it on the refs. I don't think it's... I mean... You have to watch the game for yourself,
and also, I mean, it always comes back to the coaches and the players who actually play the game.
Definitely, and you can only blame fouls so much. Sometimes it comes down to the moment. You got to make better decisions. So, but honestly, I made some last-minute changes to this. I did have Murray State going into the Final Four because I don't know why.
Which was a bold pick.
It was a bold pick, and I wanted to make I wanted to make one bold pick into the Final Four, but something about Murray State, I was just looking more into it. And I felt more comfortable taking Missouri in over Michigan State in the Elite Eight, and I felt more comfortable with that. I did kind of feel like giving Marquette a run past it, but I don't know.
Well, with Murray State, if you had them in the Final Four, they would still be in because they won today over Colorado State.
I know they'd still be in, but I don't think they're going to blow past all the rest of the talent in the West.
Who knows? You might regret that pick later on.
I may. And if they end up winning it all, or if they make it to the Final Four, I'll probably just cry. I mean,
well, see,
no big deal.
The biggest change that I had in my bracket was Syracuse, because originally I had them going all the way, and losing Fab Melo, especially with the defense that Jim Boeheim runs with that 2-3 zone, and having Fab Melo clogging the middle there. He was such a big part of their defense, and he had some great offensive production. So losing him sort of put Syracuse on my lower on the totem pole in terms of the number one seeds, and that's the biggest change that I made in terms of my bracket. But isn't this your favorite time of the year, Derek?
It is. I gotta say, the round of 64 is probably the most exciting part of this. No offense to the bigger games, but the round of 64 is just so. It's like the beginning. It's like the beginning of the NBA playoffs, like the beginning of the NFL playoffs. There's a bunch of games going on, and there's a lot to follow. It makes it more exciting.
It's the only time that you could watch basketball at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Or at 11 at night, and the game is just starting.
Or at 11 at night, exactly. And then, even the first four that we saw, the Iona losing to BYU in a big
26 points?
25 point deficit that BYU had to overcome the most in NCAA history.
Unfortunately, though, some people are discrediting that, though, because it was a play-in game and not the actual NCAA.
It was a play-in game, so there's an asterisk by that, but
but the thing that I think is sad too for the Iona BW game, they overshadowed what was the matchup?
Western Kentucky.
Yeah, the Western Kentucky. They came back from
16 points.
Yeah,
and that was a great game too. So this is what we love about there's upsets, there's overcoming deficits, there's the number one team possibly going down for the first time in NCAA history, which unfortunately didn't happen. And I would have loved to have seen it happen, but
to go back to Around the Horn, though, they did. Someone made a really good point about saying that this was the first year in which those play-in games were something to watch. Like, they were great games, and a lot of people don't like the play-in games or even the concept of the play-in games. But honestly,
these were great
they
games.
were great shows. They really were.
Besides the Cal, who'd they play?
Cal USF.
Cal USF game. That was a terrible game.
Cal dropped it, too.
Terrible game.
But really, I thought it was exciting because for like these guys, it's like the Super Bowl for them or the championship. Like it's a lot of heart from a lot of kids that won't get farther than that. But to see that kind of emotion
especially
and everything.
BYU Iona, they're the 14th seed, so right away they have to come and play in the number 2 seed, and this could be like sort of their championship game for them.
It's just fun to watch all that heart in one game. I love it.
It's great.
The drama is about what sports is about, so you wanna see drama.
In my opinion, best playoff system in sports with the.
I wish,
college football would do.
I wish football
some
would consider
type
this.
of variation.
Maybe
of
like
college basketball is.
16
Squeeze it,
teams, 32,
maybe
8.
Squeeze it down to 8.
Do something.
16.
I don't like these bowls. Who cares about the Tostitos bowls and all that? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, the Outback Bowl, the
Chick-fil-A bowl.
The Chick-fil-A bowl. Yeah, I was about to say McDonald's. I
don't think they have a bowl.
No, they don't have a bowl.
Okay,
but everyone has a bowl. The Mako Car Bowl. Oh gosh.
Well, that about sums up our bracket talk, and we are right about the time for a commercial break.
Coming up against the commercial break, but we're gonna get. After the break, we're going to get into the NFL talk with Peyton Manning. Where will he go? Remember to call in at 657-278-5516. That's 657-278-5516. You're listening to Colin Yee and Derek McKernan on the Instant Replay, streaming live on TitanInternetRadio.org.
Hi, I'm Alex Deitch. Tune into the Alex Deitch Show on my final season here on Titan Internet Radio. It all ends here, but it's your stop for sports talk here for Southern California.
Tune in to the Alex Deitch Show every Thursday at 3 p.m. on TitanRadio.org.
Give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Visit bedsider.org to compare all the choices. Brought to you by Bedsider and the Ad Council. Bedsider.org.
You ever have 30 minutes to kill, not sure what to do?
Well, so do we. That's why we're just winging it.
Buffalo Wild Wings winging it.
Ah, yeah.
Some days will be mild, some days will be blazing, but we'll always be original.
Just winging it with Cisco and James.
Yeah, buddy.
Fridays at 2:30 on Titan Radio.
Tune in to Just Winging It every Friday at 2:30 p.m. on TitanRadio.org.
We at war. We at war with terrorism, racism, but most of all, we at war with ourselves.
And welcome back to the Instant Replay with Colin Yee and Derek McKernan, streaming live on TitanInternetRadio.org. Call in at 657-278-5516. We are lonely inside the booth today. Derek and I are yearning for some calls. That's 657-278-5516.
Word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, yearning. We are yearning for your attention.
Pretty big word there.
Please just call in. Please respond.
Please.
But this will be, we are going to begin with one of our new segments here. It's going to be the 10 seconds of soccer because that's all we need to give you.
10 seconds of soccer.
Yeah, that was like a minute of soccer.
That took up too much time.
Landon Donovan.
Yeah.
You only get 10.
And that was our new
Landon
intro for
Donovan.
And that was my Landon Donovan impersonation.
That's my favorite part. It just
Landon
comes
Donovan.
out of the blue. It's Landon Donovan. So what's our 10 seconds of soccer?
Our 10 seconds of soccer this week. It's a little bit of old news, but last week we did have Barcelona play Bayer Leverkusen in a 7-1 game where Lionel Messi scored 5 goals.
Lionel Messi.
And that is your 10 seconds of soccer.
That was too long.
Yeah, that was like
I told you to cut it down.
It's only one game. I can only do so much. Now, see, we're giving more attention to it now. We need to move forward.
Okay, sorry.
So we're going into a little bit of football news right now. It is the off-season Super Bowl right now, and a race for free agency. And Trey, well, not
and
Trey,
who is
really,
the biggest free agent on the lips of every football fan in America?
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. This is the story of the year. Just where are you going, Peyton? Tell me where you're going, Peyton.
It almost overshadowed the NBA trade deadline.
It really did. And I mean, honestly, we talked about this earlier, but I really think it's already down to about 2 teams.
I'm going with the Titans.
I think it's the Titans as well, but I got to say the Broncos still have a shot.
And the Broncos, yeah.
Still have a shot, but I'm
going with the Titans.
Yeah, I think the Titans have the best
Especially with, they just
those 2 grudge matches.
Hutchinson, the Pro Bowler
from
guard
the Vikings, right?
From the Vikings. So that was a huge signing, and that was sort of the lure to reel in Peyton Manning.
The 2 games against the Colts every year, though, it's going to be some weird games when he returns to Lucas Oil
Peyton
Stadium.
Manning playing against the Colts today.
Not in a Colts uniform.
Yeah.
Gonna be weird. But on top of that, I mean, we didn't get to touch on it last week, but the Redskins traded up for, the pick that is expected to be for Robert Griffin III, the 2nd pick in the draft. They traded the Rams. Was it 2 first-round picks and 1 second round?
2 first-round picks and 1 second round. It's going to be the first round. The second-round pick will be, I believe, next. Will it be next year?
I think it's 2013.
Yeah, 2013. And the 2 first-round picks will be 1 this year and maybe 1
in 2013. Yeah, so they gave up a lot.
Those are ramifications, but hey, that's a lot of young talent that the Rams could really use, especially when they have Sam Bradford already at the quarterback position. They don't need another quarterback, and it's good for the Redskins.
So tell me that who won in that
I'm going with the
transaction?
Rams. I'm going with the Rams because they have the new pieces that they can use, and hey, Robert Griffin's not even a proven guy yet. So
very true. And
I'm going with the Rams. They got more
say
players.
that the Redskins put a lot of chips in their basket here, and if it doesn't come out right, then there's going to be a lot of firings. If it does, great job. But other than that, I mean, there's transactions all over the board right now. One that's close to my heart, Vincent Jackson is no longer a San Diego Charger because general manager of the Chargers, Smith, decided not to franchise tag him. So he decided to look elsewhere, and of course, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided to sign him. And they also picked up Nix from the Giants, right? No, I'm sorry, not from the Saints. The Saints. The offensive lineman from the Saints.
No, not Hakeem.
Yeah. And then Eric Wright. Is he from the Giants? Why am I getting the Giants confused?
He was, I believe, Tampa Bay as well. No.
They picked him up, but where's he from?
The Vikings.
Okay, the Vikings. So they made a lot of good picks there. And honestly, it really comes down to whether Josh Freeman is going to be a good quarterback this year or he's going to continue what has been a downward slide as of late.
Well, yeah, I mean, this past year he sort of took a dip. But this year, or 2 years ago, he really played well. Don't you agree, Derek?
All right. Yeah, our phone's not working, so we're not going to say the phone number anymore. There's not even a dial tone on there. It's always something here at Titan Radio.
Oh, gosh.
I do love this organization, but phones that don't work...
It must be unplugged, or not unplugged, but maybe it's just off the line.
This is actually a PSA for Cal State Fullerton. Please devote a little bit more funds to Titan Radio so we can get working telephones. Thank you. Moving forward.
So we've been saying this phone number all in vain.
Well, last week we wanted to do a show and we couldn't do a show, so it's just always something. Titan Radio, love you. Randy Moss picked up by the Niners.
Oh, yeah,
can't miss that. That's your team, man.
That's my team. I was about to chime in on that one. I mean, Randy Moss, what a big signing for the 49ers, especially when Ted Ginn Jr. and Josh Morgan, we don't know if they're coming back this year, and he will fill a huge hole. And this probably will bring back Alex Smith as the quarterback, and we might franchise tag him. So we'll see. Now he has a premier receiver to throw to. And, yeah, he's obviously not the same Randy Moss that we all know and love.
Definitely.
But still a great receiver. Knows how to catch the ball, and that's all we need.
And I think even if it ends up being just like last year, where the receivers were almost non-existent in the playoffs, Randy Moss he's like a trick. He's a bag of tricks. That's all he is. He's going to make them have to put more men in the back to go and try to help play defense back there against Randy Moss as a deep threat. It opens it up for Frank Gore. It opens up down patterns for Vernon Davis. Yeah,
and then say one of either Josh Morgan or Ted Ginn Jr. come back, you have them.
Do they still have Crabtree?
They still have Crabtree.
Yeah,
Crabtree's coming back for sure.
Yeah,
so you have him as the
hopefully
number
he'll
2
do
option.
good this year.
And then you have, hey, he did all right. And then you have Ted Ginn Jr. and either Ted Ginn or Josh
this year too.
But yeah, I really want Ted Ginn Jr. back because
we blew past one trade too that is scratching heads all over the league. The Brandon Marshall trade.
Yeah.
What
is going on?
They're either expecting something big happening.
I guess it was just the off the field situation that Brandon Marshall's going through right now with the allegations of abuse or some type of crime that he committed. But
definitely, I feel like part of it was salary too, though. I feel like they were trying to make room for Peyton and Reggie Wayne
honestly,
to get a package deal
at
going.
least get maybe a second first-round draft pick, not a third-round pick.
That's just
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Talk about undervaluing a person's impact on a team. I mean, without Brandon Marshall, Reggie Bush is going to have one heck of a time in Miami trying to get yards.
Yeah.
When all you got is, Anthony Fasano and, God, who's
no
there?
quarterback.
Brian Hartline is their only.
And no quarterback.
Well, they'll have Matt Moore, I think, right? But
Matt Moore,
who knows what that means. Yeah, we might have a Dolphins fan listening, so don't get too heavy.
I'm sorry.
But he's not excited about the trade either. And I'm sure he'd call in if we had a working phone.
Let's get to the 40-yard dash, though.
Yeah, we do have a 40-yard dash. We got a new intro for this segment as well.
We are on fire. We are on fire.
The 40-yard dash. It's a race. 10 seconds of
Sorry.
The 40-yard dash. It's a race against the clock.
If you cut off one of Kobe Bryant's legs, would he still score 20 points? And for those of you that listen to us all the time, that was from 2 weeks ago when one of our 40-yard dash questions was if Kobe Bryant got his leg cut off.
If Kobe Bryant got his leg cut off.
Will we still score 20 points? But our first question is where will Peyton end up, Colin?
Where will he end up? Well, like I said earlier, the Tennessee Titans, Peyton Manning, just signing that new Pro Bowl guard, Steve Hutchinson. You have a good young receiving core headed by Kenny Britt. Yeah, he had his season ended early by injury last year, but he's going to be a monster receiver, and he'll be one of the premier receivers in the league. And then Chris Johnson, I think he's going to rebound after the worst season in his career.
Just to spice this up real quick, over under 9 wins.
Under
9 wins.
How about...
No? That's the question. You said under.
Can we go right on 9? No, yeah, I'm going under. I'm just kidding.
So I think he will end up in Tennessee as well. Over under 9 games, I'm going to say over because the Colts aren't going to really be a factor.
How about the Texans?
The Texans will be a factor, but
Not
that's
the
2
Jags.
games. But that's 2 games.
The Jags won't be a factor.
So there's 3 teams in that division. That's 6 games out of their season. That will be iffy. Well, not 6. I mean 4. 4 will be kind of a given, and then 2 will be debatable depending on how good Peyton Manning is and if he even is healthy. If he's not healthy, they're far under 9 games. The second one will be, second question, Colin, who won the trade deadline today? Who made the biggest move?
Well, I had 3 teams in mind. Can I go 3 teams?
You got 40 seconds. Fit whatever you can.
I look at the Clippers getting Nick Young. I look at the Wizards getting Nene and only having to give up JaVale McGee and Ronnie Turioff. And then I look at the Lakers getting Ramon Sessions for, only having to give up Jason Capono, Luke Walton, and then a first-round draft pick. So those are my 3 winners. How about you?
Personally, I think the Bucks won. I know there's a huge debate over whether Jennings and Ellis are going to, work together, but they got some young talent on that team, and honestly, the Bucks have been a team that's working hard to get back to being relevant. And I love Monta Ellis, and I really think maybe he'll either learn how to take his shots down or they'll end up getting rid of Jennings. I don't know what's going to happen. There could be so many different options. But we also said that Carmelo and Jeremy Lin wouldn't work. And it did work for 2 games, but it could be D'Antoni's fault, so who knows.
What was the worst trade, Derek? That's the next question.
The worst trade was Gerald Wallace. I don't even need to go into detail. I'm not okay with that trade. The third question is, was D'Antoni the problem in New York, or was it Carmelo? And we talked about this a little bit, so make it brief.
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, a little bit of both. You have Carmelo, the ego, with him arguing with your coach, and then D'Antoni not willing to change his system for his players. Back to you.
I said it once. D'Antoni is the one that has his job on the line. You got to change your system or at least make it more user-friendly to people like Carmelo. Carmelo's not going to change. He doesn't have to change. That's just the sad truth of it. Carmelo doesn't need to change how he plays. He's still going to be played a lot, and he's still going to be recognized as a good player in the league because he's got those natural talents and skills. Our fourth question, were the Lakers winners or losers? And I know this is a question close to home for you, Colin.
Close to home. And while I don't agree with the Derek Fisher trade, we won. We came out on top because ultimately it got us closer to that championship contending season that we're looking for. Adding a solid point guard, finally, to our lineup. And then, getting some height with Jordan Hill and Christian Anya, both over 6'8", 6'8" and above. Jordan Hill's pretty tall. He's like 6'10". I'm happy with it. Obviously, I'm not too fond of getting rid of Derek Fisher, but I'm happy with getting Ramon Sessions. How about yourself?
I don't know if there's such a thing as picking in the middle of winners or losers, but I'm going to go with meh. Meh is going to be my answer of the week. Because
Define meh.
I can't say that you can possibly lose in that because they gave up Luke Walton, who really hasn't contributed to the team in a while, and Derek Fisher, who, he's a Laker. He's been with the Lakers most of his career, almost 99% of it. But he really hasn't been the same player, and they got a young, fresh point guard and Jordan Hill, who may do good and may not. But it's not necessarily a win because we haven't seen if Jordan Hill's going to be anything, and Ramon Sessions may just be as about a mediocre point guard as the rest of them. You would hope not, but we haven't yet seen if they were going to be fully winners.
Jordan Hill will just be good for the backup center, maybe.
Yes.
And that's about it. But I think they came out on top.
Well, I don't have a fifth question, but I'm going to come up with one off the top of my head here because I think it'll be more exciting.
Okay, go ahead.
What team with the lowest seeding in the NCAA tournament will get the farthest? Will it be
That's a tough one.
VCU?
That's a tough one. No, it's not going to be VCU. I'm going Vandy.
No, Vandy's a number 5.
That's pretty low.
But you think they're getting the farthest?
Out of all the low teams?
So let's say Murray State's 6. So will Murray State get farther than them technically in their division?
They're not getting farther than.
Okay. Let's see. Any other ones? No real freaks coming out of
That's why I'm going with Vandy. They just
okay. I
like President Obama said yesterday. I like to look at teams who have the best momentum going into the tournament.
Yeah,
and
they had a lot of momentum.
Vandy had the most momentum.
What about Connecticut?
No.
You don't think you're going to beat Kentucky? Come on, man. We're just joking. My personal pick, I don't see anybody getting farther than... Well, I already picked Vanderbilt to lose, so I think it's kind of stupid for me to say they're going to get farther now. I think either Murray State or maybe even VCU. I don't think they're VCU is going to beat...
How far do you think VCU is going to get? You think they're going to get
I think they have a chance
Indiana?
to beat Indiana, but I think it's a low chance.
Okay.
It's a very low chance. Okay, who would you pick? Would you rather pick VCU over Indiana or Murray State over Missouri? Who's more likely?
VCU over Indiana.
Exactly. So that's why I think they're more of a crazy pick.
Okay.
But that's my answer to it. We did our 40-yard dash, and that's
winners
the
and
conclusion.
Losers. We sort of had our kind of the Lakers winners and losers. What are your winners and losers for the week?
Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say the Blazers, and we know why. You got rid of Gerald Wallace. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because it makes me angry just thinking about it. Honestly,
I'm not even a Blazers fan.
Yeah, but you know what? I like the team, and I like Gerald Wallace, and I use him in 2K12, and he's always been why I'm good with the Blazers.
Okay.
And now I'm not good with the Blazers. Just forget it. I'm out. Peace. No, just kidding. That was a fake walk away. And the winners, I got to go. I have to pick the Pacers. I like Leandro Barbosa going to that team.
That much.
I like Leandro Barbosa.
That much.
Because they already have a great team. They have a team that has a lot of engines running there with young guys. Get a little bit of a veteran player there that can score at will, pretty much. I mean, if they lose some score in one game, they got another guy to do it.
My winners, I'm going with the Clips because they gave up Brian Cook, who's also warming up the bench like Luke Walton, and
not for as long though.
Yeah, and then a future second round or third round pick. That's not they gave up nothing for a quality shooting guard in Nick Young, who will fill the place for Chauncey. And then, like I said in my first thought, the losers. I just have to re-emphasize this: the Lakers letting go of a cornerstone of the franchise in Derek Fisher. How could you do this, Lakers? We were outside watching.
Signed concerned Laker fan.
Signed concerned Laker fan. Outside we were watching old videos of D Fish, hugging Kobe. And how do you think Kobe feels with this trade of Derek Fisher? Obviously not too happy.
I think Kobe understands the business, but I'm sure he's just as upset as when he lost Lamar Odom, if not worse.
Oh, he's definitely worse.
South
more
Dakota's
upset.
catching up to Baylor a little bit. I hope they don't come back. Oh man, look at the Connecticut-Iowa State game.
Iowa State.
Did you pick UConn to win?
I think I did.
I picked UConn to win too, and they're down 20 right now. So
what
that's
are they
not
doing?
Good. That is not good. But we do have our fast forward right now. Got a little bit for us. Coming up, we have the... we don't have the music this week. What's going on, man? Okay, that's enough. Long Beach State is playing Cal State Fullerton in men's baseball coming up this weekend. I mean, playing 3 games, a doubleheader.
Come out.
On what
a doubleheader on Friday, tomorrow, 2:30, and at 7 o'clock. And come out. There is going to be tons of festivities. It's going to be sort of like the homecoming day that we had for basketball. So, we're going to have the In-N-Out truck, so come and get free In-N-Out, which no one does not like. And come out and watch some quality baseball between two quality teams.
And then we do have, they're playing Oral Roberts coming up next week.
Coming up, yep. So good time to go out and watch a baseball game. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Because I'm never coming back.
Oh,
yeah, you lost it. I got to start from the beginning.
There's no enthusiasm with that.
I'm sorry, Gerald Wallace has me so depressed right now. But anyways, this is the end of the instant replay, and we do have a show coming up.
Coming up, we have entertainment juice with Oh Julie and a splash of champagne. And every time I hear that, I feel refreshed, ready to face
just a little
the
splash
day,
of
even
champagne.
though it's 6 or 7 o'clock right now. Just a splash. Just a splash. You've been listening to the instant replay with your host, Colin Yee and Derek McKernan.
And the show goes on, ladies and gentlemen.
A wildfire. Step in and make a difference. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
This is Chucky, and I represent the Dirty Dutch, and you're listening to TitanRadio.org. TitanRadio.org.